Okay, welcome. My name is William J. Rothwell. You can call me Bill. Today, I would like to talk to you about a very important topic for you, which is strategic career planning. Why that topic? Well, the way I look at it is, how can a business person be successful or if they cannot manage their own career? To me, it seems like it should be very obvious that that is a critically important topic for any business person, or in fact, any professional to think about. So, first, I need to begin for those of you who have never had a course or a briefing on strategic planning to give you a brief overview of exactly what is that process. Now, strategic planning takes its origins from warfare. The idea is, how do we win a war? And in fact, when we compete with others in business or in our professional lives, make no mistake, we are competing with other people. We are essentially fighting a war, like it or not. And so strategic planning was invented as an approach to teach professional managers how to think about their business efforts the same way that a general would plan a campaign to win a war. And it starts with following a model. The model is essentially an algorithm, a way of thinking about how to go about winning a war. So the first step of the classic strategic planning model is coming up with a vision of the future. And this entrepreneurs do with a flash of insight. They can see what they believe the market is missing that people want. For example, Bill Gates knew that people used IBM computers, mainframes in their companies, but desktops at the time he founded Microsoft, desktops didn't operate very well. And he figured out a way to add a program called Windows that was able to make a PC function in alignment with an IBM mainframe. And that made him one of the richest men in the world. So entrepreneurship is often about seeing what other people don't see, a need that people want to have met, and sometimes they can't articulate it or even know that that need exists. So strategic planning starts with a vision, often based on expert knowledge of your industry or of your field of practice. So the second step is coming up with a mission or purpose. What makes your business better and different from every other business in the industry? So we set a mission statement that describes essentially who we are. And as part of that mission statement, we may well indicate the long-term measurable goals that we want to achieve in order to realize that vision and that mission. And so the mission or the goals have to be measurable, and they give us a guideline on how to operationalize that vision and that mission. As a next step, we have to think about the future. What's going to happen over the long term outside our organization's boundaries? How will the world change, and how will the world create future threats and future opportunities that would influence our business success or failure? So we do a step called environmental scanning. The step following that is looking at the organization's strengths and weaknesses. What do we do well now? And what do we not do so well now where we could improve? And as a result of those two steps, environmental scanning and strengths and weaknesses analysis, we come up with a SWOT analysis, which literally means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. From that, we can derive a grand strategy, a strategy that we will try to apply over time to realize our strategic vision and operationalize our mission and purpose, achieve our measurable goals within the context of a changing world and changing organization. From there on, after the SWOT analysis, we decide how we will compete. That's what grand strategy means. Will we try to leverage our strengths? Will we try to minimize our weaknesses? Will we try to seize opportunities or avoid future threats over time? How will we deal with those? And then we implement. In organizations, we have to look at our leaders, our company policies, our organizational structure, and the way we reward people for achieving results. And the final step would be strategic evaluation. We circle back periodically and we look at our original measurable goals and our objectives derived from our purpose and our vision. And we circle back to say, how well did we achieve against those targets? That, in a nutshell, is the classic strategic planning model. Well, I believe you can apply the very same model to your career. And as I was describing the strategic planning process, you should have been kind of thinking about that. The vision certainly works. Visioning is all about what do we want to do in our future? What do we want to do between now, whenever now is? We could be a grade school student. We could be a high school student. We could be a college student. We could be a graduate student pursuing a master's degree or a PhD. We could be a young professional just launching our career. But what's our vision over time? Where do we want to be long term? What are what's our vision of our future? Mission doesn't quite work for individuals, but I tell you something that I think does work. We can assess our values. If you're familiar with the Rokich Value Survey, it indicates a number of values that go to what we most want out of our lives. And if you take that assessment, you will get some indications of what you value most, and that should give you some clues about career direction. What do you really want? From there, the rest of the model clearly applies. We can establish measurable goals for our career to achieve at certain milestones and ultimately at the time of our retirement or at the time of our demise. We can indicate what we want to have achieved. Then we can look at the environment. Over time, how will the environment create future opportunities and create threats to our achievement of our career goals? Then we can look at our own individual strengths and weaknesses. What do we do best? What do we need to improve in order to overcome the threats that we see in the future and seize the opportunities that may come up in the future? From those, we can develop a grand career strategy. And we can think about what kind of educational qualifications, what kind of certifications, what kind of work experience, what kind of service in the community and in our profession we might need to achieve in order to realize our career goals over time. Then it's a matter of implementation and taking stock periodically to evaluate our career progress against our measurable goals. Establishing milestones at certain points in time is a good idea. You could do that in 5-year increments or 4-year increments. Why 4 years? Because that's the length of time for a college degree. It takes about 4 to 5 years to go through a master's and maybe even a PhD program. And staying with one company about 5 years before you jump around is also wise, because staying with one employer for only 1 year at a time is not a good idea, because typically employers, if you're a good worker, they give you more responsibility after your first year. So sticking around for a while will give you deeper and more complex work experience. This is important to understand. So there you have it, strategic career planning. I believe you can apply the logic of strategic planning for business to your career. Thank you for listening.